scroll percent voltage. Recording steps, eighth step entry, ninth step entry, real step by step రాసుకోవాలి. ఈరోజు చేస్తారు. సెలవు. స్టార్ట్ చేద్దామా? అదే వెయిట్ చేసినాం. గ్రేట్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. ఇండియా నుంచి వస్తుంది. ఇండియానే ఇచ్చింది. ఓకే. సో సైదులు, నిన్న చెప్పిన టాపిక్ అని అర్థమైందా? సైదులు, ఇప్పటి వరకు చెప్పిన టాపిక్లు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
ఏం లేదు సార్. నిన్న నిన్న మీరు ఇచ్చిన టాస్క్ మొత్తం ఫినిష్ చేశాను.
అన్ని ఎక్సెల్ రీడ్ కూడా చేశారా?
ఎక్సెల్ రీడ్ కూడా చేశాను సార్.
సూపర్ సూపర్.
ఒక డేటానే ఒక దాంట్లో మామూలుగా పాపప్ లాగా మెసేజ్ బాక్స్లో డిస్ప్లే చేశాను.
ఓకే సూపర్. యా. Okay. So what we discussed yesterday, we are able to read the PDF, we are able to read the Word document, we are able to read the text file. So what is all about? It's like a different type of files, different type of activities that we are doing it now. Okay. So but as per our object is we need to read the Excel file also. Okay. సో హౌ టు రీడ్ దెమ్ అండ్ హౌ టు డూ దిస్ యాక్టివిటీ అనేది ఈరోజు మనం చూద్దాం. ఓకే, సో to read an Excel file, so like this, what we have done in the Excel activity, Word activity, we have taken the Word application scope. Okay, the same way, just type Excel application scope. You can see the under Excel activity, we have a Excel application scope. So, and there is a description on it. You can see. To open an Excel workbook providing a scope for Excel activities. When this activity ends, the workbook and the Excel application are closed. If the specified file does not exist, a new file is created. And what it means is this particular application scope, what it helps now, it will open one workbook, and also it help us to read any data or to do any activities which is related to the Excel file. It will help, it will provide a scope to do that activities, and it will end it. So at the once that activity ends, it automatically close the file. Okay, so it opens it, it will do the activity, and it will close it. Okay, for example, suppose you are trying to access one file, so that file is not available on the given path. So what will happen, it will create a file and keep it as new. Okay, so let me clear one more thing. Suppose here, what I'm trying to say is, on the desktop, okay, I'm going to give a student record and a file on it. I added here. So I already have the this file, so I don't need to worry about it. What if I don't have any file? For example, ఇక్కడ మన డెస్క్టాప్లో మనం ఏదైతే ఫైల్ నేమ్ ఇచ్చామో స్టూడెంట్ రికార్డ్ అనే ఫైల్ నేమ్ ఇచ్చాం కదా, వాట్ కన్సిడర్ దట్ దెర్ ఈజ్ ఎ ఫైల్. బట్ బాట్ రన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే, ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు ఐడెంటిఫై ద ఫైల్ నేమ్. అలాంటప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తుందంటే, బాటే ఈ యొక్క ఫైల్ని క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది. క్రియేట్ చేసి, ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈస్ సంథింగ్ యాక్టివిటీ దట్ యూ నీడ్ టు డూ, యూ కెన్ డూ ఇట్, like a write range activity, or do or updating some values. All these things can be happened except the read range activity, because we will not have the any data. Okay, so our main motto is, we need to read the data from the Excel sheet kada. So type read range. Just a sec. Hi Sudhakar. Okay, so what we are trying to do is, we are trying to read the file, one Excel file. And so Excel file గురించి మనం చెప్పుకునే ముందు, హౌ ద ఎక్సెల్ ఫైల్ స్ట్రక్చర్ ఎలా ఉంటుందో చూద్దాం. ఎందుకు మనము రేంజ్ అంటున్నాం అనేది, జస్ట్ వి విల్ డిస్కస్ 5 minutes అబౌట్ ది హౌ ద ఎక్సెల్ ఇస్ లైక్. ఓకే, సో జనరల్గా ఎక్సెల్ అనేది ఇట్స్ లైక్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఎ డేటా బేస్. ఓకే, సో డేటా బేస్ అంటే ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇట్ కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ డేటా టేబుల్స్. డేటా టేబుల్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది, వాట్ ఈస్ డేటా టేబుల్? ఇట్స్ అ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ రోస్ అండ్ ది కాలమ్స్. ఓకే, ది కాలమ్స్ అంటాము వర్టికల్గా ఉన్నదాన్ని, ఇట్లా హారిజెంటల్ ఉన్నదాన్ని రోస్ అంటాం. ఓకే, సో ఈ రోస్ అండ్ కాలమ్స్ని మనము ఒక డేటా టేబుల్గా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాము. ఇక్కడ ఒక పర్టిక్యులర్ హైలైట్ అవుతుంది చూసారా, మన క్రషర్ పెట్టినప్పుడు ఒక థిక్ బోర్డర్తో హైలైట్ అవుతుంది కదా, సో దీన్ని మనము సెల్ అంటాము. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈజ్ వన్ సెల్, దిస్ ఈజ్ వన్ సెల్, అండ్ దిస్ ఈజ్ వన్ సెల్. Okay, so then what is range? The combination of cells. Okay, it is having the some range. So range and enti, from one cell to another cell, if you are selecting like this, so this particular area we will call this as a range అంటాము. Okay, cell ante ఇది, range ante ఇది. Multiple, it can be one or two or anything. Okay, so this one we will consider that as a range. Okay. So now I want to know the cell address. Cell address అంటే ఏంటి? Any idea? ఇక్కడ సెల్ అడ్రస్ అంటే ఏంటి?
సెల్
సో
అడ్రస్
సారీ ఎవరు?
J7.
Yes, exactly. So J7 is the cell address. Suppose if I ask you my address, I'll say I'll stay somewhere in the some apartment name and the flat number and the area and the pin code I'll give, so that the person who want me to reach out, they can directly reach out because of the address. The same way, if I wanted to update something on this particular cell, okay, so what would be that the cell address is J7. This you can, how can you say J7 is, this is the J column and the row of 7th, then you can consider that as a J7. So the same thing you can see here. So now I selected a J8, so it is appearing here. So this is nothing but a how to identify the J8 or J7, the cell address basically. Okay, and the what is the range? What is the range? So how can I say the range address now? Yeah,
J6
J6.
to
Okay,
V9, V11.
V11. Sorry, V11 ఎందుకు వచ్చింది? Okay, I think you are considering this value. Don't consider that value. What is you are able to see? Okay, so we are able to see only this.
Sorry,
Yeah.
M.
So it is from J to M. You can see the highlighted box. Only this highlighted part will be considered as, okay, the range. So the one which you are able to see is not a range, because bot can see the these many line items, these many columns. Okay, so bot can see the entire view of the Excel data, or it has this so many columns, right? But will looks like this. If you bot wanted to read the file, it can read in this way also, but we cannot read. Okay, because we don't have so much of scope. But here we can see only the tilka. But so if I ask you to what is the range address, means only the selected part we will consider as a range address, which start from the J6 and end in the n column of 11th row. So in a simple way, if I say equal to, this one is a K6, and if I wanted to select, this is my range, you can see here. So in any Excel sheet, basically, if you want to define a range, this is the process to define a range. It start from the which column or which cell, and end with the which cell is nothing but the range. So in between we will give the column. Okay, so this is the range address. So why we are talking about this one is, it is more important when you are dealing with the Excel sheet. You should know the basics things about the Excel sheet. Okay, so now we got to know what is the range, what is the cell address. Okay, and in this particular data table, or in Excel sheet, we will have the sheet 1. Okay, so this we will name it as a sheet 1, and if you want to create, you can create a multiple sheets also. Okay, let's talk about the sheet 1. In the sheet 1, we have a data from A1 to F9. Okay, so this is my range. Okay, so if I ask you, or if I someone ask me, so what is the data range that is filled up with the in this particular sheet 1? ఓకే, ఈ షీట్ వన్లో ఎంతవరకు డేటా అనేది ఫిల్ అయింది మనం ఎలా తెలుసుకుంటామంటే, బేసిస్ ఆన్ ది సెల్ నంబర్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద స్టార్టింగ్ సెల్ నంబర్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఎండ్ సెల్ నంబర్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్, సో దట్ it start from A1 and F9. So if I want to select this the range, what I can do, I just select A1 is, what is that, F9. See here, as soon as I enter the address, as a range address, it is going to select the entire the table that data we have in the sheet one. Okay, so just keep in mind this one. Then we are going to start with the activity in UiPath. So here the same Excel file we are going to read it, and it is going to help us to open this particular Excel file, and it will give the scope of to do some activities. So here we are going to do some activity called read range activity. So in this read range activity, what we are going to do is, you can see the left side, you can see, sorry, the right side, we have a box called properties. Okay, so these are, we will call it as a property. So what are the properties that we require now? So as a input, so we are trying to say to the bot, go to this particular range and read the data and give me as an output and చెప్తున్నా. Okay, so that case what we will do is, we need to provide a input. So what are the input here? Range. Just now we spoke about the this one, range. Okay, so as you have already seen in the Excel sheet, what is our range? What is our range? A1 is to F9. So this is our range. Okay, and the sheet name we should provide anyway. The sheet name is sheet 1. If there is another name, we need to replace with the another name. And in that also we have a few more options, like do have headers. Headers is nothing but the first column or the first row of the data. So these are all the headers. Okay, you want me to add headers or you want me to remove headers, it will consider that. Okay, so for now we will just add the headers also. Okay, if you want, you can filter the data and at last as a output. So what is the output here? Output is nothing but whatever the data that we are reading it, that should be keep it in the memory. Okay, that too in the form of data table, because when the data is in the form of rows and columns, it should be in the form of data table format. Okay, so I'm just going to create my Excel data table అనే ఒక వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటాను. Okay, so and one more tip here is, whenever you're going to create a variable, try to create a variable from here itself. Why? Because it will take the exact data type that we wanted to use for this activity. If you are creating from here, so you don't know which variable type you wanted to create, because default when you create any variable, it will consider that as a string variable. But if you use the string variable in this activity, it will throw an error. Okay, so try to create a data table or variables here, because you don't need to select the which data type you wanted to. Okay, and once you get an experience from no from the tool, then you can create from here it's also. But as a beginners, you should try to create a variables from the activities output. Okay. Okay, so now we have the variable which is created here, and if you want to change the scope of the variable, just come here and change the scope of the variable. So you can use anywhere in this workflow. Okay, so cool. So now we have, you know read the file, and we have data and how to showcase the data. So in generally, if it is a string value, we can directly showcase the string, the value here. But when it comes to data table, you cannot directly display the value. So for that, what we have, output data table. In the Excel part, you can see the data table. Just use the output data table to showcase in the form of message box or write line or something. Just add here, and just connect it to here. And here nothing you need to do, just you need to provide the my Excel data table, and here one more data table as Excel out dt, enter. And now you can connect it to the any white line activity to showcase a message box, or you can showcase in the right line activity. Just go to here, and now you can directly call that name Excel or dt, because it is in the string, so it will not ask you to do any activity, or it will not throw any error. So cool. So whatever we have, the data that we are going to get through the UiPath bot and paste in the output console. Okay, just try this and see the output. Click on run button. Yes, so it executed without any error. Okay, we need to run this file independently because we did not connect it. Yes, so now bot opened and start the data here. You can see. So this is the data that we got it from the particular Excel file. So now we got to know how to use the Excel file, how to use the PDF, how to read the Word document, how to do the read text file also. Okay, so this is how we will do this, to read the activities from different files type. Any questions on this? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, then we will go to the next one. Okay. Okay. So what is the next step? So last time we discussed about the what is the okay, how to read a Excel file also completed. So now we will see how to get the count of files in the folder. Okay. First of all, how to read the files we got to know, how to read the file, or how to get the from the Excel sheet. Okay, so as you can see, since we have opened this file and we are able to see through our eyes, and we were able to get to know how many line items, but every time we cannot do this, right? So that is the reason we are using the board. Correct. So we will not open the Excel file and we will not see how many line items will be there, but how to see how many line items to to get to know. So that's a reason we have a one activity called, we are going to add the one more bright light to showcase it in the output panel. So here, what is the data table that we read the data from here? My Excel data table. So, so data table లో ఏముంటాయి జనరల్ గా? We will have the rows.
rows and columns.
Yes. సో బేసిక్గా మన కాలమ్ చెక్ చేయాలంటే డాట్ కాలమ్స్ డాట్ కౌంట్ అని కొడతాము. మనం నంబర్ ఆఫ్ లైన్స్ గురించి చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి రోస్ అని
LI
కొడతాము, రోస్ డాట్ అని కొట్టగానే దాని రిలేటెడ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ అనేది మనకు వస్తాయి. సో వీ ఆల్రెడీ హ్యావ్ ఎ కౌంట్ ఫంక్షన్ హియర్ dot to string. So the value we are going to showcase here. Okay. Now we will see how many line items that we have in the Excel file and treat them. See here, total how many lines are there, and it will only consider the number of line items which is having the data by skipping the this one headers. Okay, if you remove this one as we have a headers, then it will show that as a 9 items. Here I added like a headers now in the read range part. If I remove this, then you will get the 9 as count. But headers we will not consider, right? So that's why 8. So like this, you just need to apply the very simple expressions. You don't need to remember also, but while doing a practice, like, you will get to know what are the functions that we have, what are the steps that we can add to get the count, to do some manipulations through the data, all these things we can see. Okay, any doubts? Okay, so now we got to know how to read the files, how to get the content. Okay, but what about the how to write files? How to write files? What is the difference between read and write? Yeah, anyone? What is the difference between write and read? మనకి ఆ వర్డ్లోనే ఉంది కదా. రీడ్ అంటే ఏంటి? వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు రీడ్ ద ఫైల్. రైట్ అంటే వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎంటర్ సంథింగ్, రైటింగ్ the data to that. Okay, so here you can see we have a data for 9 items. Okay, so for example, if I want to add something to the Excel sheet, how can I do that? If I want to add some data to Excel sheet, how can I do that? Just go to the activities, type write cell. Okay, let's take a cell now. Okay, so what it does is it is going to add some value to the this one. Okay, so in the sheet 1 I am going to give the cell range or a cell address here. So since we already have the data on the a1, I'm trying to add it from the m1 as what I'm trying to tell. This is um, okay. So what it does is, after reading this file, it is going to write activity on M1 cell saying this is from robot. It is going to update this value from this activity to this particular cell. Okay, so using this method, you can easily write an Excel file. Okay, just see how it works. As you can see, the data has been updated saying this is from data. So that is for one single cell. What if you wanted to add multiple range in M1? Very simple. From M1 కదా, N1 నుంచి I'm going to add the range. So you can see here, if it is a single cell, you can add the direct value here as a string value. But if you want to, if you want to add the data as a multiple range, then you should use the data table. So the read output form in the form of data table, at the same way write range also should be in the form of data table format. So what I'm trying to do is, ఇక్కడ నేను ఏదైతే రీడ్ చేశానో అదే డేటాని మళ్ళీ n1 అనే కాలంలో యాడ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. Okay, so for that what I'll do, I'll just use the mxsl data, save and run the file, and you can see the magic. So it automatically, take the data from the Excel sheet and start adding the data in the same Excel sheet, but the range is from n1. Okay, so just open this one and you can see the data here. Okay, so the same data whatever that I have, I'm going to add it in this sheet as a range. So this is how we will read the activities and we will write an activity. Okay, for example, this is to add the data. And what are the other options that we have in the Excel is, you can see here. There are a lot of options here that you can try with the Excel sheet. సో మనం జనరల్గా ఎక్సెల్ షీట్లో ఏమైతే యాక్టివిటీస్ చేస్తామో అన్ని రకాల యాక్టివిటీస్ మనకి ఇక్కడ అవైలబుల్ ఉన్నాయన్నమాట. Okay, you can do the appending the data. For example, in one sheet you have the some line items. Let's say we have already filled with the nine items, but if I want to add new data after that particular range, how can I do that? Using append range అనే యాక్టివిటీ ద్వారా ఆల్రెడీ ఇప్పుడు ఒక పర్టికులర్ షీట్లో ఏదైనా డేటా ఉంది అంటే ఆ లాస్ట్ రో ఏంటి అనేది ఫైండ్ చేసి దాని తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు కొత్త డేటా అనేది యాడ్ చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ది అపెండ్స్. యూ కెన్ సీ హియర్, appends the data from a data table to spreadsheet. If the sheet does not exist, then it will create a new sheet, the same name value, and changes are immediately saved. So whatever the data that you will add it over there, it will automatically get saved. Okay. So this is to append the data, to add the line items one by one whenever it. So you simple words, if I want to say, మనకు ఆల్రెడీ ఉన్న ఎక్సెల్ షీట్ ఉంది, దాంట్లో డేటా వచ్చేసి 9 rows ఫిల్ అయింది. ఓకే, సో బాట్ ఏం చేయాలి, 10th row నుంచి మనం లేటెస్ట్ డేటా ఏదైతే ఉందో దాంతో ఫిల్ చేయాలి. జనరల్గా హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్ అయితే ఏం చేశారంటే 9th row ఆల్రెడీ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి సో 10th rowని సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని అక్కడ నుంచి డేటా అనేది యాడ్ చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. ద సేమ్ వే వాట్ డస్ ఇస్, ఇట్ విల్ గో టు ద ఎక్సెల్ ఫైల్ and read the content of the last row, and it start filling up the last row plus 1. That means 9th row plus 1, which is nothing but the 10th row. Then it start adding the value from the 10th row. Okay, and again bot is doing the same loop activity, and next time it will be 18th row. So what would be the next row is 19th row. So it will do the calculation automatically and it will identify the last row from the Excel sheet and start adding the data. So we have a one more activity to close the workbook. For example, if you wanted to, if you open the Excel sheet and it is not closing, so then you can use the workbook directly to close the workbook. Okay, and there is a one more interesting one is get cell color. So in Excel sheet we can do the lot of activities, right? So if I want to get some color from the Excel sheet, suppose what is the cell color of this one, I'm trying to add the cell color here. So I'll apply as a green color in the J7 and I'll try to you know add the value in it. Okay, I just wanted to read the color from the sheet. So for that what I'll do, I just take the sheet one, and what is the range here, A7 I should provide, and ఆ కలర్ రీడ్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత మనకి అవుట్పుట్ వేరియబుల్ కావాలి కాబట్టి I'll say color name, enter. And if you wanted to see this output data table type, you can see here the data table type should be drawing dot color, system dot drawing dot color అనే వేరియబుల్ టైప్ని మనము చూస్ చేసుకోవాల్సి ఉంటుంది. Okay, so after that I'm just wanted to see in the form of రైట్ లైన్, జస్ట్ రైట్ లైన్ యాడ్ చేసుకొని ఇక్కడ కలర్ అనేది ఇచ్చామంటే మనకి ఏ కలర్ అయితే అక్కడ ప్రజెంట్ అవుతుందో ఆ కలర్ నేమ్ మనకి ఇక్కడ వస్తుంది. సో కలర్ నేమ్ని మనము టూ స్ట్రింగ్స్లో తీసుకుంటే ఇట్ విల్ షో ద నేమ్ ఆఫ్ ది కలర్. లెట్స్ ట్రై దిస్ వన్ and see the color name. Okay, so it is not saved yet, that is the reason. And I told you now this is having the issue with the license itself. It is not getting saved. Changes cannot be. Okay, that's fine. So basically what will happen from here, it will take the content of the color and it will update the value in the form of output. If instead of empty it should shown as a green color. Okay, and you have a few more options here from the Excel sheet and you can go through it. Okay, so in this I'm going to add the one more topic for today. Just a sec. Okay, how to read the, now we got to know how to get the entire data, but I wanted to read the single line from every time. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So for that we will use the concept called for each. For each data table, I'll tell you how it works. So here I'm going to use the data table in this box. You can see the headline itself for each row in data table. That means so A1 నుంచి F9 వరకు ఒక డేటా టేబుల్గా కన్వర్ట్ అయితే ఆ ప్రతి లైన్ని ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు రీడ్ ఇట్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ ది యాక్టివిటీ దట్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ ఇట్ హియర్ మై ఎక్సెల్ డేటా. సో ఇక్కడ ఏం చేసానంటే I'll keep it in the message box. Then message box, you can see this dialog message box, and here you can add the current row dot. If see here what will happen, there are total around the 6 columns, but I wanted to see only the name column. So for that what I can do is I can write a simple expression to get only that particular current row dot item of, ఇక్కడ డబుల్ కోట్స్ ఏం పెడతారంటే నేమ్ అని ఇవ్వండి, డాట్ టు స్ట్రింగ్. ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఓన్లీ ఇట్ విల్ రీడ్ ఓన్లీ దట్ పర్టికులర్ కాలమ్ యాజ్ నేమ్. ఓకే, సో యూ కెన్ ఓన్లీ సీ దట్ నేమ్ హియర్ ఇన్ ద మెసేజ్ బాక్స్. ఓకే, just run the file and see the output. Do not open, specific open, no other the same already. Okay, it is open here. See, I got the first name from the data table as Ramesh, and the second one is Raju, and the third one is Kiran, the fourth one Gauri, Gagan, Kalyan, Sushma, and Lavanya. Okay, so like this, I will get the data by one by just adding the simple expression. So this way, you can only, even though if you have the lot of data from the data table, but you wanted to extract only the single column, you can get this way. It's a very simple. Just try to do these activities, and if you are not completed yesterday topic, and try to complete today at any cost. Okay. So if you are complete these two topics today, then we can go with the other topics. Okay. So from Monday onwards, we are going to enter into the different the interesting topics. These are all like a basic one, but you should know the basic one very 100% you should know properly. Then only it is easy for to get into the next topics. Okay, try to practice more and more. Okay, it's easy, and it is you don't need to remember a lot of things, but you just need to practice whatever we discussed on the class. Okay, cool. Any doubts you have? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. If you don't have any doubts, okay, I will give you a simple task for tomorrow. Okay, you have a 2 days time, right? You can use it. Okay, now try to complete that activity. Okay, so as I told you, from the Excel sheet you can get the data, and in this data table, okay, so what you need to do in the Excel sheet, okay, there should be some data. Let me share this way. Okay, create one Excel sheet. Okay, Excel. So on that sheet one, okay, table should be like this: name, mobile number, and grade. Okay, so data should be like this: something like Ramesh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the grade should be A. If the grade is A, okay, then only I'm also saying if grade is A, then only we should take the name from the list. Okay, so otherwise it should not pop up, the name. Okay, so this is the task for these 2 days. So just go through this. No, just try in the Google also. You will get it with the same keyword. Okay, very simple task. Nothing you need to do. Just create a table like this and check. How can we check the grade one? By applying the current row dot item of column name is grade dot. Okay, and the value is equal to A. Then what I have to do is I need to get the name, current row dot item of name dot to string and is the name వచ్చేస్తుంది. Okay, so just try to, I'm also writing the expression. Just use the if condition there. You can search for the if. You can see the if, right? Just go here, and here in this part. Okay, I will only write it here. Instead of this one, I'll need to add the grade dot value is equal to A. Then only I want to see this name as a message box. Otherwise I don't want to see. Okay, so like this it should be. So like this you need to apply the condition and write the if argument condition. So just assign the value control K, create, enter, and here enter this value and here equal to create equal to here. That's it. Okay. So this is how you need to implement the code. So when you are doing this activity, we will get a lot of opportunity to do the condition, to apply many logics, and to do a lot of things as per the business requirement. Okay. So this is how even the real-time organizations are also working with the Excel sheet, and they will have some data. They need to identify the only the the basis on the logic. They need to get the data and try to work on it. Okay, so this is how you need to do it. Just try to apply the same logic on your project, and try to complete the task. And if you have any doubts, please let me know. I will help you. Okay, so I'll share this screenshot with you in the in the group. Just go through it and let me know if you have any doubts. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. రాహుల్ అర్థమవుతుందా క్లాసెస్ అర్థమవుతుందా టాపిక్స్
చాలా టైం తీసుకొని వస్తారు
ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ అవునా జనరల్గా అయితే జస్ట్ 2 seconds అయిపోతుంది నేను దీనివల్ల అనుకుంటాను బట్ ఏంటంటే 99% జస్ట్ అది ఇన్స్టాలేషన్కే కాబట్టి పెద్ద టైం తీసుకోవడం మరి వీళ్ళ పరిస్థితి ఏంటి రావట్లేదు క్లాస్లో